Hello, hello, hello. I am back. We are back. I'm here with our guest, Rose from the Comité de Logement Petite-Patrie. How are you doing, Rose?
I'm good.
So, I brought you on because there's something that happens in this city and others. People have come across landlords who might be abusing their power, their positions. Sometimes, you hear these horror stories, right, about landlords who enter apartments
Mm.
without enough warning. You hear them sort of. People worry about the pressure that they sort of exert on like one-to-one interactions, especially if it comes to something like there's something wrong with the apartment, like, oh, the walls are falling apart. There's a leak. Some people are lucky to have good landlords who are like, thank you for letting me know. I'm going to do this. And they do everything like
I don't know
spick and
them.
span. No, okay, yeah. I don't think you would deal with many of them. But there's this sort of, I guess there's this a character of a landlord who's like, let's say, the bad landlord, right?
Yeah.
And there's a lot of ways that a landlord can be bad.
Yeah. They have a lot of power.
Yes.
Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, I mean, they control where you live, the quality of your shelter, of your home. I'd say even home. Yeah, I want to say home more than shelter because it's like a lot of times you're trying to make these spaces like yours.
Yeah.
Somewhere yours. That's your space.
Yeah, it's
You
the
wanna be
only place
comfortable.
where you can like be vulnerable and safe.
Mm-hmm.
It's really important. That's why it's that much of a big power to have, I think.
Yeah, yeah. As landlords have so much power, and sometimes it's kind of an issue because they might use that power to harass you, to try to exert more rent out of you, maybe to kick you out even. And I brought Rose on today because that's sort of what that's like that's her job, is to deal with these people, to deal with the bad landlords. Do you want to tell us a bit about what it is your work is at the Comité de Logement Petite-Patrie?
Yeah. Thank you for that. I work in specifically insalubrité. Like, I'm an organizer, so our project, we basically go door to door to like the biggest buildings in my area, and we're gonna talk to tenants to see what's up, how it's going. Do you have like bed bugs? Do you have mold? And usually it's people that won't come to our doors. So I love that we do door to door. It gives us like another perspective on like tenants' reality in our neighborhood.
Yeah, that's a nice outreach. I would love to have someone
Right.
like that come to my door.
Yeah.
Because, usually when people come to your door, they're trying to sell you stuff or convert you to their religion. Instead, you're showing up and you're trying to make sure that there's no bed bugs, which is
Yeah.
I'd say a common good. Thank you for doing that.
Yeah, that's like the basics, but also like just helping the tenants that come through our doors or like the emails, the calls. I answer all the emails. So yeah, sometimes there's more like political stuff. We're gonna talk with our MP to have more rights, maybe something better in our neighborhood, or like la concertation, like just talking with all the orgs in our neighborhood to like try to fight poverty or
Sure.
yeah.
So like, you work with like different like jurisdictions of government, community groups, and you make sure you're kind of. I feel like you're almost like their window into like the housing crisis, right? And into
Yeah.
like these issues of I guess the quality of people's housing.
100%. And housing is really hot topic right now. So
It's been. I
yeah,
feel.
we're receiving a lot of attention. I don't know, like
Yeah.
a lot of people coming through our doors, but also like politicians that wants to do something about it. Not everyone, but we're lucky in Petite-Patrie. We have like pretty useful politicians.
Sure. Some allies or some.
Yeah. I mean, like some cases with like really bad landlord, GND showed up and like talked to the landlords, make them scared. So that's good.
Whoa!
Yeah.
So that Gabriel Nadeau-Dubois showing up at your
Shout
door.
out. Yeah.
At your door to complain about your bed bugs. That's kind of nice. That's kind of
I mean, we need to
I like
use-
that they use their pressure like that.
We need to use every tool we have because they have a lot of tools.
Of course. So, I mean, I guess today I brought you on, of course, not just to talk about the general status of the housing crisis, but with the Comité de Logement de Petite-Patrie, you put out a little guide called How to Investigate Your Landlord. And I think right now we're talking about tools, and it seems like you're trying to put out another tool into the world of tenants to try to give them a little bit of power. Can you tell me a bit about this project?
Yeah, I think it's like when I started this job, I learned so much about tools and how to research about your landlord or maybe get more information. And I was like, I think people don't know about this. Like, we don't get a course on like how to be a tenant or how to act with your landlord or what can your landlord like should do or
Right.
shouldn't do.
They're teaching us about Rome and not about how to
Yeah.
or like rights.
Not useful.
Yeah.
So most people don't know about their rights, but I thought that maybe we need to put out there like how. At first, I wanted to call it like how to stalk your landlord because I love to research people, but like it wasn't giving the actual vibe that we wanted. Puis, yeah, so that's it. I think it's like to give a bit more power and maybe it's just like before signing a lease, you get a bit more information about the landlord. Like it's just like, oh, you just got an address and a name, or maybe you don't even have a name right now. You just have the address and you're gonna sign, but then you're gonna like found a lot of problems or like patterns that your landlord does. And I think it's good to have those tools.
Yeah. I mean, it's such a huge thing because anytime that I've been researching kind of housing stuff here in Montreal and across Canada, I think what always stands out to me is sort of how kind of unchecked landlord power is. Any of their abuses is sort of like there's not really any kind of I guess any kind of punishment or any kind of follow-up, any kind of thing about like justice, right, with any of these kinds of housing injustices. So to me, it always felt like it was sort of like the Wild West, you know. There's like no real law above them. Of course, there's some laws, but I mean, for the most part, it seems like it rules in their favor, right? Especially with things like when we saw the Minister Duranceau suggest that the housing increases should be like 6%, right, as like a base, and then you see how that sort of has empowered landlords even more, you know. So if anything, it's the Wild West with the law even being on the side of the landlord. So it's nice to see this kind of stuff give power to tenants.
The law was made, we can say that there's laws, but they were made by landlords. So I kind of feel like, but we still have some tools, but like justice is pretty hard. So I think that's why we need to figure out alternatives or how we're collectively we can act on it. So that's the intention behind that guide, because the TAL is not going to tell you how to search for those informations.
Right.
You go on the website of the TAL and it's a lot for landlords. Like a lot of like easy things to do are for landlords, and I think that's like we need to do it. Like that's why Comité Logement exists. It's to give power to the people, and just like maybe it's not accessible for everyone to do those research, so it's good that we exist.
Of course, yeah.
They can come through our doors. We're gonna do the research with them, but I felt like this needs to be put out, and maybe like some people gonna have it before signing a lease or when they're trouble.
A little bit of popular education, know what you're doing, because it's the whole thing, just to fight against the unknown. When you're taking part of the leases, you know, or like when you're signing these contracts with these landlords, you know, it's always best to know as much as possible about these figures, you know, because otherwise, I mean, sometimes like you see like you talk about like sometimes there's a name to these leases, and sometimes it's just like a number, right, an address, like the business number. It's just pure like it's just smoke screens, you know. It's like it's they
work that way.
Of course, yeah. It's when you can't identify someone, it becomes harder to actually hold them accountable. So tell me, I guess like one of the big questions is why? You know, of course we have this background now of like empowering people, more information, but like what kind of information? What do you do with this? You know,
I think the main reason why you want to investigate your landlord is maybe before signing a lease, because after that you're kind of like you're moving there. It costs money to move, like you're locked in, you have
committed.
You have a lease. It's pretty it's a big commitment, and after that it's going to be your home. So it's good, like especially with right now, like finding an apartment is really hard. So I know that we don't have many choices, but I think we still have some choices over like maybe not getting a slumlord or something like that, you know?
Avoiding just the worst of the worst.
Yes.
Yeah.
Also, I don't know, maybe you're tenants for like the past 10 years in an apartment and you get a repossession notice and you know it's phony, like you know it's not real, but you want to know how to prove that. So you want to investigate and you need to like show some doubts that he's not acting in good faith in front of the judge, or maybe it's already done and you're out and you know he's not living there and he's gonna rent like twice and even more the price. So you want to find like evidence that he's not acting in good faith. He's making money out of you. So that would be the main reason. Maybe you want to figure out like what was the last rent that was paid. Couple of reasons you could like want to investigate your landlord.
I see lots of different kind of ways that you can use that information to sort of leverage, I guess, more ways to exercise your rights, more ways to kind of pressure justice onto these kinds of cases. In terms of like repossession, like I'm trying to imagine, like, can you give us like a scenario? Like, let's say a landlord repossesses a building or a unit.
A unit.
Yeah. What are some like fraudulent ways that you could what are things you could discover about that repossession that would make it fraudulent?
I mean, I saw a couple of cases lately in the media that were discovered through social media that it was fraudulent. It was like a couple that said that they were breaking up. And so that's
the landlord was a couple.
Right.
Sure.
And they're like, oh, I need to take back the space because I can't live with my girlfriend anymore, whatever. And the old tenants like found out they're still together on Instagram because And
you think the old tenant was happy for them? It was like, congratulations, I'm so happy you made it through that rough patch. Can I get back the apartment?
Yeah, and they got a decision like they had like punitive, like they had money from the tile from the landlord because of that. I saw another one. I think it was like a young couple on IG that was kind of like, comment tu dis ça, se vanter, genre.
Ranting or venting?
No, it's like when you're proud of something and you're like show it to the world.
Boasting?
Yeah,
Showing
they were
off.
like, oh, look, we got a building and we flipped it completely and look how much money we made.
Yeah.
And one of the old tenants like used that to get some justice.
Right. Yeah,
so I think it's pretty interesting to use those tools, but also like if you have let's say in December, that's the bad Christmas gift that we call. People gonna receive a repossession notice.
Right.
And also right now, because there's a moratoire on evictions in Quebec till like June 2027.
Okay.
No landlord can evict you, but they can still repossess. So we saw like...
It's sort of like an effect. It's like they can't evict, but they can evict you by way of repossession.
Yeah, I saw kind of like, oh, there's no eviction notice, but there's quite some more like repossession notice. So I think they're just like trying to
Go
other
around that, go around the moratorium.
And so we're gonna see people coming in and they'd be like, oh, I'm gonna say no because I know it's not real. And they have an audience and they need to prepare to go there because you can represent yourself. You can get a lawyer, of course, like there's legal aid, but some people just like represent themselves and we help with that. But like maybe we in our training workshop that we do, we tell people to become like Sherlock and try to find like as many as evidence that can show like incoherence in like are you saying like, oh, I'm gonna repossess for my child or and you see that, I don't know, like his child has got a mansion in
sure
you know what I mean?
Yeah. Why you wait a minute, it doesn't add up, right?
Ouais, c'est ça. You want to live in the 2.5 and like
yeah.
So,
I think that goes to show just how much they don't really care about having like a tight like case like I'm talking about the landlords, like they're being kind of like sloppy, right? And which I think goes to show how much they're leaning on either tenants not knowing their rights, not doing the research, or also it shows that they kind of trust
The system.
to kind of allow them to do this, because there's no fear of like any kind of punishment. There's no fear that like, oh, if I'm caught, there's gonna be some kind of consequence. They kind of act without that kind of regard.
We're starting to see some big decisions. Like I saw $50,000 for an eviction that was illegal, but in their pocket, like that's nothing.
Yeah, I mean, if you're at like the top end of these landlords and you own like thousands of properties, right? So it's like,
it's nothing.
It's like
they're not scared.
Yeah.
They're sloppy. They can just like do whatever. I mean,
it's a little inconvenient for them, but they're kind of going. But still, cause that inconvenience. Stand up for yourself. I want to go back to what you were saying. So we're just talking about I guess ways that we could fight repossessions or find out about repossessions, fraudulent ones specifically. You also mentioned something about rent, seeing what the last rent that was paid was. Now, I'm kind of curious why you would want to see that. And also, I guess, are landlords not showing what rent is always?
I mean, they're supposed to put it on the lease that you sign, but sometimes it's like not there, the number, or they're just gonna like basically lie about it. And you want to know, maybe you're paying like twice the price that the last person that was paying. And you can find on some, like the Primitive du Tal, the tool that, one of the tools that I want to talk about, it's like all the cases that were open at the Tal from like tenants to landlords. And if you write down your address and your postal code, you're going to find like all the cases that were open at the Tal for this building, and you can check every cases that was open. Maybe there's like a decision that was rendu, and you click on, it's just like c'est une petite loupe, tu cliques dessus and you see like the decision. You can read the decision, you see how much was the price was for when it's like fixation de loyer, or it's not in all cases that you're gonna see the price of the rent, but that could be a way to find it. You can ask like old tenants, maybe the neighbor knows the last tenants,
right,
that type of thing. But what I wanted to say is like the reason I would investigate is also when you're about to sign a lease and you don't know, like they give you an address to visit, but you don't know what's the name, who's possessing this, like who's the owner of that building. And you go like it's called a property assessment roll. You have that in every city in Quebec. There's one for Montreal. You put the address and like the neighborhood that it's in, and you have like the name of the person that owns it, since when, the city taxes. There's a lot of information on that page.
The property assessment roll.
Ouais. Okay. Le rôle d'évaluation foncière.
Okay.
C'est un des outils que j'utilise le plus.
One of the tools you use the most. Incredible. So that's I guess that should be at the top of people's
I mean,
tools.
You want to know who's the owner, who's the landlord.
Who am I dealing with?
Ouais, c'est ça. And it can be like a company, or it can be some like real person. And and like when you find that name, after that you that's where you start to search.
Right.
Because you can go on, I talked about the Primitive du Tal, where you have all the cases. That's just with the address. But if you go on Sokige, which is like a platform that you have all the decision of all the tribunal that there is in Quebec, and you just put like the criteria of the TAL, the Tribunal Administratif du Logement, and you put the name of your landlord or the name of the company, or like it's numbers usually, but like you put that in, you're gonna find like all the decisions that were made regarding that person or that company.
Sokige. Soquij.
Yeah.
Okay.
Couldn't have said better.
I passed. I feel like I'm at a spelling bee. So I guess, so then with these kinds of tools, it helps you start building that profile of like, who am I dealing with?
Where?
What, like, where, like, who are these people? Just
I mean,
the
if
first
you
question.
find nothing, good. That's a really good sign.
Oh, yeah, true. I hadn't thought about that. Yeah.
No, sometimes I'm like, oh, there's nothing. So that means your landlord's not the type of like to go to
there's not a pattern of this constant kind of like cases. Okay.
But like speculators, you're gonna find a lot of things. Like there's some groups that I'm not gonna name that I found like I was able to make like a web of them. Like they've got so many companies that are, it's a way to add yourself too,
Yeah,
but
yeah, yeah,
they're
yeah.
all the same people behind the companies.
It's like
And
shell companies, like we see with like tax evasion kind of stuff.
crazy. And like the number of cases that they have, like
In total.
way.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, so you want to do that. Like maybe when you search the number of the company, you can go on le registraire des entreprises, so you know who's behind the company, and maybe it's other company, and then you just do like the process to like know. But sometimes you're straight up, you're gonna see there's 3 shareholders, and you look them up, and you're gonna find some stuff about them. Like yeah, so it's pretty useful tool.
Useful tool for these potential Sherlock Holmes of housing rights here in Montreal.
Yeah, and if you like, if I think about that company that I'm not gonna name, there's so many cases. You're gonna see a pattern of like I was talking earlier about non-payment, and that's one of the cases that's like what they use to evict tenants. Like it's the number one case that's heard at the TAL. It's
eviction by non-payment because of non-payment.
Okay. Ouais. It takes 5 minutes. It's super fast. It's like it's in machine. It's like let go. You don't talk. The tenant don't talk. It's just like, do you have a proof of payment? No. Okay.
You're done.
Resigning the lease. Yeah. Sometimes they can trick you that way. Like they don't give you a receipt for paying for your rent, so you're like, oh no, I don't have a proof, but I paid.
Oh, get it in paper. Get a receipt.
Oh yeah, get the receipts. 100%.
Have it in writing.
Wow. Ouais, vraiment. So like you can see like, oh, they have so many non-payments cases, and that's a bit like
fishy.
Ouais. Yeah, that's a bit fishy.
It gives you. I mean, yeah. I mean, if I see that with my landlord, then I'm like, okay, so my landlord is someone who I didn't know before, but then let's say I start using these tools, I know that this is we have a company owned by so and I'll see that they use non-payment as like their main tool of, I guess, pressuring people out.
Yeah, I'm sure there's like cases where non-payment is real, but
sure.
I've been like seeing a lot of like speculators that buy a building. It's used to be owned by can I say it? No, like before speculators, there were like
the mom and pop landlords, or
ouais, genre
no.
No, okay. They used it to money laundering.
Sure.
They weren't interested in like making money out of tenants, so it was like kind of like an ecosystem that was living there.
They were not interested in making money off the tenants?
No, it was just there to
launder money.
Yeah. Okay. And they weren't like, people were paying cash. There were people like, I have a couple of buildings in my neighborhood that's like that, and it's like ex people that were on the street, and like it's an ecosystem. I don't know how to describe it else. And like people were paying cash, and it's just like no problem. But like
low pressure.
They sell it, and like the speculators come in, and they're like, they know what they're gonna do, and they change the method of payment, and then they're gonna open like 20 cases of non-payment, and like
wow, it's a whole system.
Yeah, so that's why we need to act really fast when buildings are sold in our neighborhood, and we're trying to like educate people on that.
I guess, how do you identify what is a speculator to you and to your organization?
Well, yeah, I think I use that.
Yeah.
Some people don't agree with that term.
Because I think to me it's like when I think of speculation, it's someone who buys a building to sort of like make profit off it. But then you can also account, there's like, of course, like so many like just like, I don't know, like I'm creating like a picture of like middle class family buys house for themselves, and with the idea that eventually they can profit off it, right? So what makes a speculator, I guess, to you? Yeah,
for me it's like a company that basically that's their job. It's just buying old buildings and just like evicting everyone, and then like making like cosmetic, like they paint a wall, and then they're like, oh, it's like
renovations,
$2,000.
Yeah.
Well, I think I see it that way, but I understand that it can be also like...
Sure. No, but it's useful to know how, I guess, your definition of it, right? Because then that gives us an idea of like what exactly it is you're looking at. I remember one time, I mean, it's that kind of technique is familiar to me. You know, the kind of and I'm sure to many of our listeners and viewers, where it's like the bare minimum like change, which not even like structural, you know, it's not even something that's like unnecessary renovation, and then they use that as an excuse to jack up rent. This one building I was living in NDG, I remember like I was walking down the stairs in the lobby, and it used to be like there's like a building that used to be like a film studio, but then they renovate into apartments, and the insulation's terrible, you know. So it's not like some luxury condos. I remember in the lobby, which is a hallway, they put a fake fireplace, and then like some like photo frames on top. And as soon as I saw that, I was like,
Uh-oh.
they're gonna raise the rent. And lo and behold, that year they tried to raise the rent, I think by like $80, and it was just, I think,
Nope.
it was tough. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But you see, I mean, that technique I guess is familiar. But so I guess to you, a speculator, someone who uses these kinds of techniques like systemically, like
Yeah.
that's like
I
main,
mean,
the main thing they do.
The red flags, you got a new company that owns your building.
Mm-hmm.
They're trying to change the method of payment to a pre-authorized payment.
Okay,
That's my
pre-authorized payments.
biggest red flag.
Why
you can
are
get.
why are pre-authorized payments red flags?
Because after that, they have access to your account.
Oh.
Like, I don't know why that's a bit fucked up. I don't know why it's legal too. But you sign, like, some people, like, I saw some tenants, they were like, oh, I didn't have, like, any problem with my landlord before. So I was kind of like, okay.
It's going to be the same.
I'm going to sign, like, and give my information. But then it's like, oh, they asked for a raised increase of, like, $100. And I said no, but they still took it.
Oh.
Yeah. And then it costs money to, like...
Sneaky.
It costs money to stop it at your bank. It's really like some people are, you know, like paycheck to paycheck. They don't have like $30 more to cut that
or the time to like chase it down, right?
Yeah, it's just like
it.
that would be one of my red flags.
Okay, pre-authorized
and know
payments.
that the new landlord, he doesn't have the right to change your lease. Like the way you're paying, the price you're paying, it's staying the same even though if it's a new landlord.
Okay, yeah.
That's like bullshit that they're changing everything. They're gonna come in. Oh, the other red flag is like, you're in danger. Like we need to renovate everything and there's about to have a fire in your apartment. Like you need to leave.
Oh, wow,
and then people are scared. They sign like for, okay, I'm giving you $3,000 to leave. That's nothing.
That's
like,
for what people are owed.
Yeah. So we're trying to fight that by like doing the door to door and telling we have like a newsletter and we're like, if you know that a building is being sold or you have a new landlord, please contact us. And then we go there, we send letters to everyone. We're trying to really be proactive because it goes so fast.
No, yeah. I mean, it sounds like if these speculators are like working systemically, I'm sure they want it to be fast, right?
Yeah, and then they're gonna sell the building with like 50% vacancy, and it's gonna like check the price, and you know that's their job.
Right, that's their tools.
But yeah, like I think before signing a lease, you want to check a bit what's up with the landlord. But also if you're experiencing some trouble, like maybe he's got a pattern of like, je sais pas, like he's a slumlord and he's having a little dream.
Yeah, the dogs. There's a dog in the studio dreaming.
Dreaming
of landlords and fighting them, maybe.
Yeah, like the dog in Superman.
Like the dog in Superman.
So now you know like the shitty business. You look at like all the decisions that were made, but you can also look at other things than the legal decision. You can look at just basically Google review that can tells you a lot about a company. I see a lot of tenants that use it. Like you see, it's like, oh, I've got mold, I've got bed bugs.
Yeah, it's the most. I feel like it's the most readily available thing, right?
Like, yeah. You can also, I didn't say, but once you have the name of the company or maybe the name of the landlord, there's Find My Landlord, and you can see if he's got like 20 buildings in Montreal, and maybe you do all the research that we just talked about for the other units, so you can like figure out maybe other stuff like for repossession that can show you like, oh, he did like in the last 3 years a repossession 10 different times for his grandma, or you know what I mean, like
right. Someone who's abusing the rule about repossessions to just not really like to act in bad faith, I guess.
So that can be a proof and evidence that he's acting in bad faith.
Unless he has 10 different grandmothers.
I don't think so.
Unlikely.
And then I would look on Google. I would look, there's like a Reddit on Montreal housing, social media. Like the two cases I talked earlier was through Instagram.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, people are just like public pages, and then
Right.
they talk about their like crazy lifestyle. So that can be like, sometimes if I have a repossession, like a tenant that experiencing that, I'm straight up gonna go to Instagram and like if they look like they're having luxurious lifestyle and they're just like repossessing at 2.5, I'm like,
Guess what?
that's
I don't think that was for you.
no, c'est ça. There's like also rate the landlords a bit like rate my teacher.
True.
And you can find useful information there. I would, those tools are not perfect, but I think it's like something really interesting information to have. I would also create solidarity with the other tenants that are in my building, because maybe something comes up, we're all experiencing the same thing.
Right.
I mean, the hot topic right now is rent increase, and it was really a hard year to tell tenants, this is legal.
Right. Yeah. Everything. This massive increase that the landlord is asking.
Yeah,
is
and
legal.
I was like just fed up with saying it's legal, and I was like, okay, well, what can we do? Like, if you can't refuse because you're gonna go to the town and they're gonna give it to your landlord, maybe get together with all your other neighbors and say no. And try to, like, we saw a lot of unions that starts for tenants. I think it's not quite here yet. Like, I saw a lot in Ontario, in the United States, but I think we need to like create power, because there's so much imbalances. And I think, like the TAL is already flooded with rent increase, like the fixation de loyer. So maybe next year we all refuse, and there's like 3 years wait to get your audience. So maybe your landlord's gonna be more willing to negotiate and be like, okay, well, never mind the TAL. It's gonna take 3 years before I get my money.
Yeah, exactly.
Right now it's more like a year and a half. It's still a lot. Like, you need to,
be patient.
C'est ça. And like maybe it's gonna create a little power to, or maybe like if your apartment's repossessed and your old neighbor calls you and is like, hey, in the last year he never rented the apartment, or he never moved in actually, and now he's renting it. Like, here's I found genre
the old lease.
L'annonce, voici
sure.
genre. That's how today I got someone that called me like, oh yeah, my old neighbor called me, and
There you go.
it's fraudulent. So this, or maybe you come into a building and the tenants next door is like, oh, the last tenant gave me their lease and here's the last price that they paid. So I think we really need to talk to each other, because they're profiting on our
separation, isolation.
Yeah.
What do you tell tenants who are introverts and maybe a little nervous about talking to their neighbors?
Maybe go to the Comité Logement
de
their neighborhood, or association de locataires. That could be a way to start. And usually, like, what we do, if someone comes in to talk about a building and that looks really problematic, and it's the beginning of, speculators like
taking
evicting everyone, we're gonna go door to door and talk to everyone, and then propose to do assemblée de cuisine. Genre, we inviting everyone on to our office and like doing a little talk, like what's happening. Everyone can talk. We did that with, we paid for a lawyer, Manuel Johnson, shout out to him. And like all the tenants, we rented like a sous-sol d'église, and tenants were open, like invited to come in, and we just like tried to create solidarity. They all speak about their experience. They realize they're all living the same thing.
Wait a minute. Yeah.
And so after that, I think it's going to be like less easier for landlord to like divide and conquer.
No, of course, yeah. Because I mean, we were talking right at the beginning of the show of the ways that landlords exercise their power over you, right? Like, in a pure, like, from a landlord-tenant relationship, it's just that contract is between like one person and maybe one or two other people, right? And that's how they can press you. But together, you're stronger.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Chances are, what's happening to you is also happening to your neighbors as well.
100%. I don't think we have that many power relation that's like one-on-one like that. That's so big. So that's why I think we need to break that and try to like create.
Yeah. Well, like the places I feel like it doesn't exist is like, I mean, we're used to sort of people try to make it a thing, right, in like workplaces, but then that's how like
Why?
workplace unions became a thing because people were like, wait a minute, the way the boss is treating me affects everyone else, right? And so they'll try to single you out, but then you'll be like, don't talk to me without my union rep, you know?
Yeah.
But now here we are in the wild west of housing where we don't necessarily have that kind of tenants' power represented at the same level as these workplace
I'm
unions.
surprised that like I've been reading about, I'm surprised that there's not more unions because
Tenant unions?
why?
Yeah.
The struggle has been real, like probably since people were working and they were having a housing problem
course.
too.
I guess maybe it shows the current state of the housing crisis. We're reaching a point where like I think you were telling me like the other day where like the people who are coming in to the Comité de Logement, it's like even the profile of the person who visits your like facility is changing, right? So before it used to be maybe like a certain kind of like whatever kind of person who needs like some kind of social help, but now I think what would your coworker say? More people are coming in, like the
Les bobos du plateau.
Les bobos du plateau. So even the hipsters are coming in, which maybe
I mean, people that have got like how to say why genre revenue genre maybe they have like genre ils ont de l'éducation.
Sure.
Yeah, my colleague that's been doing that for 35 years, she's like, whoa, there's so many privileged people through our door. It's
I mean, I feel like that's how these kinds of crises work, right? It was like first it affects like the most kind of disadvantaged people, and then slowly it just grows and grows and grows, right? And that's
and
like
now everyone's talking about it.
And
maybe that's gonna create a change because it's like targeting also like privileged people. But yeah, I think there's it's true. Maybe unions were a thing because Montreal was quite like a couple of years ago, I think it was still cheap but I'm sure there were slumlords.
Of course.
Yeah.
But yeah. Well, it's because I think before, I mean, there's also a thing where before vacancy rates were high enough where it's like if your landlord is bad, it's an easy thing to just leave, right, and hop somewhere else. But now it's like vacancy rates are very low.
Oh, it's crazy. Yeah, with the house and the government, like.
Of course, yeah.
Wow.
Well, I guess one last question. Thank you for coming on. But how do you want someone to be using this book? How do you want? Actually, no. Let me rephrase that. What is something you want to be the outcome of having released this? What do you want to see out there in the world of tenants?
I mean, if like unions become like a bigger thing, I don't think that would be like that with the. But I would be interested to see in the next year that we create more solidarity and maybe we develop tools to like. I don't know, like maybe negotiate our rent increase instead of having like $100, we get less. Just I want to see us, creating new tools and like finding solutions. Mais sinon, it's basically if people can like, attraper, genre catch their landlords like do like illegal stuff. That would be great.
You could be the one to deliver justice.
Yeah, or if that prevents someone to sign a lease with the slumlord. I had someone like just last week calling us, and I was like, I know what's your address without you telling me. Like she was describing what she just moved in. 1st of July just happened, and she's like, I got.
Wait, who said that?
A tenant. Like that was like. Describing her new situation, just moving in, and I knew which apartment she was in because the slumlord is so known.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. Maybe create more justice, but I mean, I don't have a lot of faith in the system, but let's work outside the system.
Shouts out. Thank you very much, Rose, for coming on, talking to us about ways that knowledge is power and that... tenants can potentially use to begin knowing what the lay of the land is, who they're dealing with, and from that point on making informed decisions and not being, I guess, at the whims of these big scary documents called leases.
Let's go.
Thank you very much, everyone. Catch you next time.
Bye.